Okay, so first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Vicki Waters, and I have the Edward Jones office here in Port Wentworth. But I'm actually here tonight on behalf of the Port Wentworth Chamber of Commerce. So I serve on the board of that. And for many elections, we've done a candidates forum. So I do not know which number of candidates forum this is, but we've done several of them, and they're always fun. And I promise you, we have a really fun information-packed lineup for you tonight. So I welcome our candidates and our community here. I do want to thank some people before we get started. First of all, I want to thank the Wyndham. They've offered us this room tonight, and they've got it all set up nicely for us. I also want to thank some volunteers with the Chamber. They've done a great job. A little bit about how we do this candidates forum. So there's a process behind it. We actually posted and started promoting this forum 3 or 4 weeks ago. We put it on our Facebook page. We also had a place for the community to ask questions. And the community came out and sent us questions about what they're interested in, what's important to them. And so those questions have gone to a team of people to vet. And we have some business owners here that own businesses in Port Wentworth that volunteered tonight to go through those questions. So I want to introduce them. We have Julie Perry, and she is with At Your Service Tree Service. Is Julie. We also have Abby Mew, and she is here with the new Fairfield that just opened. So thank you so much for coming. And then also Sean Register, and some of you may have seen, he's actually with the new Port City Fuel Center that is going to be opening this fall. So I thank you for coming and vetting our questions. I'd also like to thank Leslie Francis PR for helping us get the word out about this and helping us promote it. And she and some of her representatives are here with us tonight. So I thank you for coming out tonight. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And so if everybody would stand and I'll start us off, and maybe we'll look there. We're quite there. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now I'm going to ask Reverend Rufus Bright to come and give the invocation.
Let us pray. O gracious and mighty Father, we come to you in the most humblest way that we know how, asking, begging, and pleading that you be with us tonight as we go into this forum, that you guide our hearts, that you unite our minds, that you bring us together as one, a city seeking your guidance, seeking your wisdom, and seeking your knowledge. Put your hand of protection upon us. Let us ask the questions that need to be asked. But most of all, Father, let us give us love. Let us be united as one. Let's leave all the bitterness, the anger, the hatred, the animosity outside. Let us come in together as one family, as one city, seeking and focusing on improving Port Wentworth. Watch over us, guide us, and keep us. These blessings we ask in your Son's most holy and righteous name, Jesus Christ. Let us all say, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. I'd like to also introduce our moderator tonight, and I'm very excited. She's come back to us. She actually, okay. So before I prepared for this tonight, I said, I want to kind of look up Dawn's bio. And I was sort of astounded when I saw she has been in the journalism world serving WTOC and the Savannah area since 1989. And not only that, she also has served on several boards in the local Savannah area, okay? She's also written a book. So and of course, has been the recipient of many local and professional awards. And I am so proud and honored that she has come back to help us again with this event. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand you over to Don Baker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to hold this microphone because I am caring for two people who are chronically ill. And I've not done any crowds, so you know I love Port Wentworth when I agreed to come here. I've been avoiding all the madness. So it really is an honor to be here, and I just want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the whole community for wanting to have an event like this. I love this event because not only are you allowing the candidates to speak, but you allow the community to offer the questions, which I think is so important. Oftentimes when I'm a part of events, you get these questions, you can tell it's right from the committee, or someone has been online doing a great deal of research and finding the perfect question for a candidate who lives anywhere in America. So I was really happy to see that these questions really pertain to your life every day. So I'd like to begin by introducing our candidates for this evening. You will notice that I will not introduce Mayor Gary Norton or Mrs. Linda Smith. She's also a candidate for Alderman at Large. Both of those candidates are running unopposed, and they did not respond to the invitation. And Mr. Linwood Griner declined the invitation. So these people are still on the ballots for you. So let's begin with the introductions of the candidates who are here. We'll begin with City Council District 1, Gabrielle Nelson and Alfonso Rivolt. Mrs. Gabrielle Nelson prides herself in being a Georgia peach. She was born in Savannah, educated in the Chatham County Public Schools. She also graduated from Armstrong Atlantic State University. And at the age of 22, she built her a home right here in Port Wentworth. 8 years later, she and her husband built an even larger home in the same area. Nelson has served on the Port Wentworth Planning Commission for almost 2 years now and has worked for 12 years in different positions within local government for Chatham County. She currently manages the IT help desk and procurement division, where she oversees purchasing and provides financial input regarding her department's budget. This is Gabrielle Nelson. Thank you. And we also have her opponent sitting right next to her, Mr. Alfonso Rivolt. He is from Patterson, New Jersey. He has lived in Chatham County now for 11 years. He currently serves and lives in Port Wentworth with his wife and 6 children. Rebo earned his bachelor's degree in Human Resources Development and Training from Northeastern Illinois University and a master's in Business Administration from South University. He is an Armed Forces veteran with 24 years service to our country. He's also the founder and former president CEO of the Metropolitan Savannah Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, worked for the U.S. Census Bureau and the Atlanta Regional Census Office. Most recently, he worked on a partnership with St. Joseph's Campbell Hospital and other chamber partners to start mobile vaccination units at 4 mobile home locations. Thank you. Moving on down to District 3 with Mr. Rufus Bright and Mrs. Janet Hester. Mr. Bright was educated in Chatham County schools. He served in the United States Air Force and was a veteran of the Vietnam War. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice and an Associate's degree in Education from Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. He also earned a Bachelor of Religious Education, an Associate's of Christian Education, and an official ordination certificate and Bible school teacher and advanced Bible school teacher certificates from Midwestern Christian Institute in Mount Clemens, Michigan. After moving back to coastal Georgia, he has worked at the 50th Street Church of Christ, Tara Nursing Home, and the Chatham County Jail's Prison Ministry. He has also served as the executive committee of the Savannah branch of the NAACP and is a member of the NAACP Prison Support Systems Committee. Bright currently serves as the minister at the Church of Christ in Hardeeville, South Carolina. And his opponent is Mrs. Janet Hester. And she and her husband, Stephen Hester, own Hester Farms in Port Wentworth. She envisions the city becoming home to a recreation facility that promotes healthy lifestyles and builds the community. She'd also like to see more food growers and increased support of local food growers. Thank you so much, Ms. Hester, for being part of this vote. Our final candidate appearing tonight is Alderman-at-Large candidate Mrs. Jo Smith. Now, she has over 30 years of professional business experience. After working for 2 Fortune 500 companies in management roles, she opened and operated 3 successful companies, 2 of which garnered annual revenues in excess of $1 million a year and employed more than 120 people. Smith's municipal knowledge, government knowledge, and experience includes 4 years on the board of Special Purpose Local Washington Sales Tax Oversight Committee and 5 years on the board of the Buy Local Initiative, where her main contribution was speaking at PTAs, school foundations, booster clubs to encourage people to patronize local businesses. Currently, she runs a nonprofit, pending IRS status, serving people of Port Wentworth. Thank you, Ms. Smith. I would like to very quickly go over the rules for this evening, which are very important, and our format. Each candidate will be given an opening statement that will last no longer than 3 minutes. The timekeeper, and our timekeepers for tonight, I just wrote their names down, hold on. They're the cooks, Miss Rose Cook and her, is this her son? Your grandson, Christopher Cook. They are our timekeepers tonight. And you have 3 minutes total for your opening statements. And once you get down to 2 minutes, she'll give a light tap with that gavel.
Like that.
There you go. At the 1 minute warning, candidates each time. Oh, you don't want her to tap to get mad with that gavel, okay? So that's what you're going to hear. And if you won't stop, I may have to come over there and just kind of gently touch your shoulder. Okay. We will ask as many questions as we possibly can throughout our time here. We hope to wrap up at about 8:30, and it is all up to you. We really ask the audience to participate by not saying anything, whether you agree or disagree, no moans, no clapping, because all that takes away from the time of us getting to even more questions. As you know, the panel has already given me the questions. They emailed them to me today. They all came from the community. They've been screened for this forum. And let's make sure that we listen to our timekeeper. That is the most important instruction I can give you here tonight. Candidates.
Sorry to interrupt. We have the actual questions. We vetted them, so I'm going to give them to you. But we had a team that vetted the questions. We've actually got them individualized this way.
Okay. You all didn't leave those angry written ones in there.
No.
Okay. I was busy trying to. Okay, let's see ya. Okay, thank you. So we have our questions. And the candidates will also have closing statements after our question and answer period. And that'll be around 8:30. Council candidates will have 3 minutes at that time for your closing statement. And again, that timekeeper is going to tap lightly if you have 1 minute left. And also, when you finish, your time has run out, she will go crazy knocking that gavel. And also, keep in mind, candidates, you don't have to take the whole time. It's important for you to keep your thoughts together, and that way we make sure people know the best of you. Sometimes people get a little lost trying to fill all the time, and that's not fun for the audience at all. I also would like to thank the Chamber for what you're doing, but also acknowledge we do have some elected officials in the room. Is that okay? Ms. Francis, will you just acknowledge? Okay, we do have, now I don't recognize everybody, so please, but if you are an elected official, I do know that Ms. Tanya Hall is here from Savannah Chatham County Public Schools. Thank you for your attendance. Ms. Barbie is here from Port Wentworth City Council. Mr. Hitchens, Mr. Bill Hitchens, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much. Now, we have some ground rules. Of course, the audience, this is the last time you're going to clap tonight until it's over. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. We have zero tolerance policy. Anyone violating the policy will be asked to leave the event immediately by chamber representatives. Candidates will not have access to anyone at any time during the forum other than through me, the moderator, and the screen questions that I just received. We know about the time limits. I'm going to hope to enforce those time limits, and we want to make sure that we all have a good time and we're all very respectful of each other's time. The candidates shall not interrupt one another. And we also would like, if someone, for lack of a better word, references something that I have done and I'm running for, say, District 1, we hope that you don't do that. But if someone does, we don't have time for rebuttals, but in your next question, if you'd like to dedicate maybe 20 seconds or whatever to address that person and clear up any problems, you can. And of course, during your closing, you can also further explain. But we just cannot have the tit for tat all night long. I think everybody understands that. Thank you so much. So with that, we're going to be able to begin with our first questions. One thing I did lose, one of my candidate names, a sheet. Okay, I'll be around.
For District 1, Alfonso Rivolt won the coin toss.
Okay.
And for District 3, Rufus Bright won the coin toss.
One in District 3, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, Rufus Bright.
Right. And so since Ms. Smith, you do not have any opposition, we'll just throw you some questions in the lineup, okay? Thank you.
Also, John, I want to add something that Joe
Janet
Smith,
Hester?
Your
Your
Smith is
District 3,
actually running against Linda Smith
Okay.
for at-large. So we have the two Smiths running for at-large, but Linda Smith is not attending.
I did announce that she was not attending. Okay, thank you so much. So let's begin with our first question to our District 1 candidates. And Mr. Rebo, you won the coin toss, so you will answer this question first. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving right ahead. Opening statements. Let's begin with District 1 with Mr. Rebo, followed by Ms. Nelson. You have 3 minutes. At 2 minutes in, she's going to knock.
And then we'll notify for 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I really want to get a stand up. Thanks a lot for putting this forum together. This is my first time in any political arena, so I'm a little bit kind of nervous, but I do believe that when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember who you said it to. My name is Alfonso Rivolt. I'm a 25-year veteran, U.S. Air Force. I also came here to Savannah from a different country, different work-related causes. But I've been here in Chapman since 2009. And I've been always trying to find out how can I be useful. And that's something that it has been engraved with me everywhere I've been to. I've been in 40 of the 50 United States of America. I've been in 7 different countries. I speak 2 languages, Spanish and English, fluently. I also have a master's degree in business administration. I'm the founder of the Metro Savannah Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, an organization that puts together Hispanic-owned businesses with non-Hispanic-owned businesses so that they know each other's culture and they can do business in a more successful and more efficient way. I'm not here to represent any political party. I'm not here to represent any particular special group. I'm here to represent the city of Fort Wentworth and specifically District 1. Why I say that? Because I have no business trying to meddle in other districts' business unless I'm called for. My priority will be District 1. One of the things that I'm famous for and people know me is that I have integrity, honesty, and also a sense of duty. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Nelson?
Good evening, everyone. I am Gabrielle Nelson. I am a mother, a devoted wife, a Port Wentworth citizen, and frankly, I am one of you. Like I said, most recently, you'll see me sitting in traffic with you. You'll see me in the grocery store because I've been here battling the struggle of traffic with you all for the last 12 years. I currently sit on our Port Wentworth Planning and Zoning Commission. That has been almost 2 years, and I've enjoyed it immensely, being able to be trained appropriately on what it requires to build an efficient city. The reason that I'm running is because I have small children who do not right now have very much of anything that they can participate in or, enjoy the resources of. I go to work every day in Savannah, take my children to school and daycare in Savannah, and I bring them home, and that's about it. We even have to travel to Pooler just to go to the library. So I'm looking to make small changes like that I believe will have a tremendous impact on our children's futures. Just to touch just a little bit on my upbringing, I am a 34-year-old mom again, but I was raised by my grandparents after my mother was murdered, my father was incarcerated. My grandparents are here today, so thank you for your support, my grandparents. Again, many reasons that I'm running, but most of all for the children and the unity in Port Wentworth. It's more than necessary, and I'm ready to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to our Alderman at Large post with Ms. Jo Smith with a question for your opening statements.
Hi, I'm Jo Smith. I'm running for City Council. There are 2 Smiths on the ballot, so make sure to vote for Jo. If you forget my name, just vote out the incumbent. I've knocked on over 600 doors. I've held sign wavings in the cold early dawn and the heat of the afternoon. I've walked hours and hours through our neighborhoods, talking to you, trying to find out your issues and problems, and I've loved every second of it. I've shown my work ethic. You've seen it, and I will continue to work this hard for you after my election, because I believe in the service of public service. However, I have not yet encountered one single individual who has met my opponent, Linda, the incumbent, during the entire campaign. And she didn't bother showing up for this event, and she would be sitting here, but she's not here. What message does that send to you about respect, how much she respects you or even wants your vote? I want your vote. I want this job. I want you to vote for me. And I've been working very hard to show you that. I'm a successful business owner, and I only became successful by treating my customers as king. If elected, you will be my customer, and your needs will come first, plain and simple. I'm an expert in working through the often complex and mind-bending bureaucracy of federal and state government. My expertise will get our city all the pandemic relief funds that we are due, and I have experience in federal grant writing as well. A lot of our monies moving forward are going to be coming from the federal government. We can leverage that money to revitalize downtown and also give the North Side a sports complex and park and make this a wonderful, inclusive city. I would like to address the police targeting towards the North Side residents of color. Port Wentworth writes more traffic tickets than the entire city of Savannah, and mostly on the north side. This makes us an incredibly unfriendly and unwelcoming city. My view is that the police should protect and serve, not cite and arrest. Our city has doubled in just approximately 8 to 10 years, and we've become extremely diverse demographically. However, our comprehensive plan was written before our explosive growth happened. So I believe strongly that the citizens run this city, not the council. So nothing major should be undertaken without public input. That's called smart growth. We are a changing, diverse, and dynamic city. Let's act like one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to District 3, and Mr. Bright won the coin toss, so he will have his opening statements first.
Good evening, Minister Rufus Bright. First of all, we give Chamber of Commerce a thank you for bringing us together. They've done it for a number of years. Unfortunately, City Council voted them out, the same ones that are not here tonight. I've been a member of Metropolitan Planning and Zoning for almost 7 years. I've only been here for about 7 years. I've been involved with Port Wentworth since I moved here because I did not agree with what's going on here in Port Wentworth. What I want to change is we don't have the amenities that we should have. We don't have restaurants that we can sit down and eat. We don't even have a place that we can change our tires. We're getting a car wash finally. We don't have, if one of your children gets sick, you got to go to Pooler, Rankin, or to Savannah, Georgia. We need those things. We need smart government. We don't have smart government. We have traffic jams now that is incredible. You can't get out to go to work. You got to leave so early so you'll beat the traffic jam. I'm here because I want to represent you. You have to vote for me. Yes, we have a lot of things that need to be straightened out. I can't promise you anything, but I guarantee you to fight. Vote for Rufus Bright for City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hester?
Good evening.
Use that microphone, please.
Oh, yeah. Good evening. I'm not a professional at this. My first time also up here. I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity to invite you in and speak to us through your previous questions about the issues that we face. Many of you who know me know I'm not a woman of few words, but tonight I'm going to keep it brief. We've got game one of the Braves, 809 World Series. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the issues that Port Wentworth faces that have been a problem for a long time, and our current leadership in the city has not addressed any of them. Dawn, as a matter of fact, when you started with WTOC was the very year Port Wentworth was annexed. This side of town was annexed by downtown. 32 years. We still don't have any recreation facilities. That is unacceptable. Add to that the traffic that has been a known problem for many years. Again, mum is the word when you're dealing with the current leadership. We can build a better relationship with GDOT, with the ports, with the other municipalities in Chatham County to improve what we have here. We are ground zero for the port. We should get more respect. And I believe that we will be able to address these issues and build a relationship and get a seat at the table, because we deserve that. To fix the traffic, get this recreation complex so that our children can have teams and build community through recreation. That is powerful, and we don't have that. And I thank you for gaveling me because I'm done.
Okay, thank you so much. As you can see, you have some wonderful, well-qualified candidates, so I think all of you all will be winners no matter what happens in this race. But let's begin with our official questions now that came from the community that have been vetted by the Chamber of Commerce. I think we should, let's do something a little different here. Let's begin with our Alderman at Large post, Ms. Jo Smith. And for this time, I'm going to ask this question to all of you all. What is the single most important issue facing Port Wentworth today?
The single most important issue facing Port Wentworth from a 30,000-foot view looking down holistically is that the city has outgrown its city council. We've doubled in population in less than 10 years. And it's a very diverse, dynamic, demographically mixed population growth. And I think we have to look at the city as a whole. I would like to revitalize the downtown and also give the north side what it needs, recreation centers and parks and a lot for the kids to do on the north side. I think they are not mutually exclusive. I think if we revitalize downtown and allow the north side to grow, then we will be a very prosperous city. Traffic obviously is a big one. There's just so many issues that need to be resolved. And also, as Janet had said, working closely with the ports and also some of the development authorities. I've negotiated with senators and CEOs. Put me at the table and I will get the best deal for Port Wentworth. We deserve a seat at the table.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to District 1. And Mr. Rebo, you started the openings, so let me start with Ms. Nelson. And the same question, what is the single most important issue facing Port Wentworth today? Let's
Okay.
take about 2 minutes to answer those questions.
I believe that the single most important issue facing Port Wentworth right now is our infrastructure or our lack of infrastructure. Day to day, that is one of the things that I manage at work, is infrastructure and making sure that those bills are paid efficiently in our fiber. That does not exclude city roads, county roads. I am again on the Port Wentworth Planning and Zoning Commission, and I've been requesting the last 2 years, almost every single meeting, what are we going to do about our infrastructure? They want to bring homes, they want to bring new dwellings, they want to bring new establishments. Great, we do need those. We want the city to flourish, but we don't want the city to be lost in all of the traffic. There's absolutely nothing going on with GDOT that I've been privy to after questioning many months as far as when we're going to reorganize our highway from a 4-lane highway to a 3-6. So my single most important issue right now is the infrastructure facing Port Wentworth.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to Mr. Rebo. Same question, what is the single most important issue facing Port Wentworth right now?
Yes, other than the divisiveness of different people thinking we can do this and we can do that without bringing anything to the table, one of the single most is the lack of making a decision to get things done. Something was mentioned a little while ago about the master plan for the city of Port Wentworth. A lot of the things that my opponent and the rest of the candidates are saying about what they need in Port Wentworth is already in an updated master plan that was put out there in August 26th of this year. What happens is that we don't have people who actually have the knowledge and the skills to go out there and seek ways and possibilities to make it happen. I'm only the candidate, but you know what? About 2 weeks ago, we talked about recreation. We're gonna bring a YMCA to this location. We got that.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's move on to District 3. Ms. Hester, same question, followed by Reverend Wright.
I believe the single most destructive thing facing Port Wentworth today is warehouse sprawl. GDOT has got a very voracious appetite for growth right now. In fact, we are facing doubling the impacts of goods coming into our port in the next few years. If we want to have a viable place to live in 10 years, we must control, slow down, or eliminate the sprawl of these warehouses coming into our residential areas. I've been in this fight with my community, with my neighborhood, for over 15 years. I've been out here for over 30 years, 33 years. And we are facing destruction. We've already had one community terribly affected by this sprawl. The 100 acres of warehouses will go up in their backyards. And if we don't stop this, they're gonna be in your backyards. We can't do that.
Thank you, ma'am. Minister Bright?
The most single important thing that I think is facing Port Worth is the traffic and traffic lights. The report that DOT has is 15 years old. In the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to build 3,500 new houses and apartments. That's 3,500 more cars, more traffic, and the lights have not been updated. So with the traffic we have now, just imagine us going in that traffic then. We need strong leadership to change that. We need people that's going to go and going to fight with DOT to change that. What we have up there now, they don't want to fight against DOT. They're afraid to. I will fight for you at DOT and get those things done. Widening roads. We need more traffic lights. I've talked to people, I've got canvassed, and I talked to people and they say, we can't get to work, Minister Bright. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next question will begin with our District 1 candidates. And let's begin with Mr. Rebo. This question, what do you plan to do about the intersection of Highway 21 and 30 and the daily traffic issues we face? Are you willing to pursue Georgia Department of Transportation if necessary?
Yes, of course. Yes, we will go to DOT. One fact is that you don't start demanding something without actually having a plan. Because you got to remember, you really should think about something that you wish because it might come true. Traffic is not really a problem, but bottlenecks and congestion is. If you stop the traffic, you're going to dry out all the businesses in the region. You will. So my take on that is we need to invest money in municipal road system so that we can get from point A to point B, from one side of the city to the other side of the city without having to touch Highway 21 if we don't need to. If that happens, we'll take a lot of cars out of the way. And that way we'll be able to communicate, actually get from point A to point B without using 21.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nelson, same question.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you
What do you
did,
plan to do about the intersection of Highway 21 and 30 and the daily traffic issues we face? Are you willing to pursue Georgia Department of Transportation if necessary?
100% willing to face them. I have absolutely no problem with speaking up. My name is Gabrielle, and inside of that is Gab. I literally will talk your head off even if you don't want me to. So I have absolutely no issue with communicating or having those hard conversations. So yes, to answer the question, it is necessary, as I mentioned a moment ago, that is the single most important issue that Port Wentworth is facing in my eyes. I do want to go back, as you said, we could take a few seconds in your questions, just to wrap up what you said earlier, Alfonso, about if we don't have the competent leadership. If we don't have it now, and we're voting, that seems like we have not just our race, but it seems pretty clear what we need to do next week.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to District 3. Let's begin with Minister Wright. What is your vision for police and fire service to the North residents?
My vision is to retrain them. Right now, Port Wentworth is in a stumble. They've forgotten what their job is, and their job is to protect and serve. We don't need the police force on 95. We need them to protect the citizen in Port Wentworth. A lot of times they're somewhere else, or they're parked, lurking, trying to stalk someone. I was profiled the other night, sitting in my sister's driveway. They passed me 6 times. The next time he came, he had all his lights off. So why are you coming again with all your lights off? They need to be retrained and stop profiling. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Hester?
Yes, the question again?
What is your vision for police and fire service to the North residents?
Okay. The police, need to stop with the traffic traps, the speed traps. Gotta go. I don't know if any of you know about the little town of Ludowici in South Georgia. You've been around here long enough to know about that little speed trap. The governor had to shut that down years ago. We're fast becoming Ludowici, okay? That's on the police issue. That has got to be addressed. But also, we've got to have fire protection substations further out. Right now, everything is on the other side of I-95. All of the facilities and all of our support is on the other side of I-95. But if you have an emergency, an accident, a fire, or a terrible accident somewhere on this side of I-95, guess what? There's such a bottleneck during rush hour traffic. Somebody's life is going to be hanging in the balance. When if we had over here on the north side of North Port Wentworth, where the units could come from the north side into the center, so that you don't have to go through all that bottleneck to get to the accident or to get to the people who need the care.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to Ms. Smith in the alternate at large post. Your question is, what is your economic development plan and how does it benefit citizens?
Well, I think this leads into what I was saying earlier about the City of Port Wentworth outgrowing its city council. We need more business leaders at the table, like myself. We need people with diverse experiences. And I think we need to build bridges that have never been built. We need to build a better relationship with the Georgia ports. We need to have a seat at that table. We need to have a seat at every development table. Two CETA, the Savannah Area Development Authority projects, are actually in Port Wentworth. We should have a seat at every development organization around town. And I should be that person because I have that business experience. And no city is an island, just like no man is an island. And our traffic, well, a lot of it goes north into Effingham. So we have to deal with other cities as well. So dealing with the ports, with the development authorities, and dealing with other cities, and being able to negotiate with them for the best of Port Wentworth.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to question number 3. Let's begin with our candidates for District 3. This time I'll begin with Ms. Hester. The question is, what plans do you have to design and implement a retail and commercial development? How will you work together with stakeholders?
Thank you, Dawn, for that question. One of the ways that we know for sure we will never develop commercial, develop more businesses, more restaurants. We can't get our teeth cleaned here. We can't get our car fixed here. We can't do a lot of these things, and we never will if we let warehouses come in and take over. So that is a central issue with me, because you can have warehouses, and there are plenty of lands available for warehouse space. It does not have to be in the residential areas. So therefore, it is those areas that I would like to see our city protect and preserve, so that your corporate offices could come in and open up, and you could have dress shops, you could have, we can't even buy a pair of shoes in Port Wentworth. So we need places that are mom and pop operations. We want to encourage local entrepreneurship for them to open up their businesses here in Port Wentworth instead of over in Rankin and down in Pooler and over in Savannah or Garden City. We want them to open up here so we can come here. We need to develop partnerships with these local entrepreneurs to keep them here and provide them a good place where people can live and people can support their businesses. Warehouses don't support local businesses.
Thank you, ma'am. Minister Bright?
It goes all the way back to city government. If they don't allow them to come in, they won't come in. If you're forcing warehouses in, that's what they're going to become. We have to allow them to come in. You have to have strong leaders to allow businesses to come in. the mom and pops, the different little business that will grow and bring in things. Tourists gonna come. Where they gonna eat? They'll stay at the motels, but they'll go spend their money somewhere else. We want to spend their money in Port Wentworth. We want to keep their money in Port Wentworth. We don't want to just stay here and go to Rankin and Pooler. We want them to spend their money here. So the city the city leaders need to stop looking at this and say, well, wait a minute, they're just staying here for a moment and they're going to spend their money else. Stay here and spend your money in Port Wentworth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Smith, the at-large post, what is your plan to build a relationship with the Georgia Ports Authority? Other cities like Garden City have a great working relationship with GPA. Please share your thoughts on how to move forward.
That flows in perfectly to the last question. That, I think, in a nutshell, is what the issue is with the current city council. That I don't know if they're intimidated or inexperienced, or I don't know the reason, but we don't have working relationships with the important regional partners, and we have to. We have the ports on one side, the port that will soon be the largest port on the East Coast. We have the airport on the other side, and we have huge economic developments north and south. So we have to bring a business mind to the table to talk with these people and get a meeting of the minds. I think everybody wants the best deal possible. I think everybody wants a win-win, and I am the person who can sit at that table and get the best deal for Port Wentworth and negotiate with the Ports Authority as well as the development authorities.
Thank you very much. Let's move back to District 1. I believe it's Mr. Rebo at this time beginning the question. Your question is, what suggestions do you have for city leadership? Are there any improvements that you would like to see made?
Yes, definitely. There's many improvements that we can do. One of them is the policies. See, before you can actually bring in all these partnerships and have a seat at the table, you have to bring something to the table. Just can't go out there and just demand. Yes, we need to improve in creating policies that actually foster economic development the right way. We have to have policies to enforce whenever those developments do not try to follow the rules. We have to have that. The city, the downtown, all that stuff is in the plan. One of the things is eliminate the blight, enforce code. Why? Because we need to fix all of these businesses and infrastructure so that we can actually go ahead and bring more businesses. We do need economic development, but with community benefit. And that's one thing that I'm good at, and that's one thing that I'm going to be bringing in to District 1 and the city of Port Wentworth.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Nelson, would you slide that microphone down, sir? Thank you.
Little but mighty. My suggestions for leadership for Port Wentworth, first would be to lead with integrity. We have had a lack of that the entire time that I have resided in Port Wentworth, so that would be number one on the list. Number two would be to increase training. If your leaders do not have the fundamental education, that is not just a college education, because college is not for everyone. College does not mean that you've learned everything you need to learn, but the actual hands-on participation in class training is what is necessary, and I believe we need much, much more of that, even down to customer service. And the last thing would be to seek to unify the community. That's one of the reasons that I'm running. I'm trying to bring a heart to Port Wentworth and a heart back to City Hall.
Thank you, ma'am. Our fourth question, let's begin with District 1. And I believe this should be Minister Bright at this point. I'm sorry, 3. I'm looking at you and calling the wrong thing. Here's your question. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in the city? What are your specific plans to engage residents and business owners, listen to comments and concerns, and make decisions based on the community input?
That goes to the ordinance that we have now. With the ordinance that we have on the books now, they need to be changed. They're outdated. Give you an example. One day, they had people picking up signs and say it was an ordinance against certain amount of signs in the yard. I was asleep. I woke up, signs were removed from my yard. To me, that's trespassing. What we need to do is let the citizen have a vote, or have a say on what the ordinance should say pertaining to Port Wentworth. Let us be able to say what we think is right for us. Not so much as let the city council make the decision, but let us have a say in what we want to have for Port Wentworth. If we can say what we have, not just they say for what we want, we're the people, and they're supposed to be for the people. Let us talk and let us make decisions too. That's one of the things I think should be a very great thing that we can do, and we can change what's on the books. They're outdated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hester?
Thank you for that question. I feel like in the 33 years that I have been in Port Wentworth, I'm in the Monteith Minehart community. It is a farming community. And I go out 2-3 days a week, and I go over and I meet with Mr. Willie, Mr. Willie and Mr. Robert over at the Promised Land Farm. I have dubbed him the mayor of Monteith, because if you need to go anywhere and you need to know what's going on somewhere, Mr. Willie knows, because it's a central place where he entertains people to stop and just sit around and chat. And always in those chats, things come up about what the problems are and how they can be solved. And those folks who live in that Monteith Minehart community, believe me, they're smart. They know what's going on, and they've got some good ideas, and they've got some good solutions. So I would continue to do what I've always done. Get out and meet the people. Sit with them, talk with them. Another great idea that was put out by Julius Hall was that we would go into the communities on a quarterly basis, into our districts, and meet in an environment where the people aren't timed, they're not, given 3 minutes to speak, and we get to hear what they're saying. We get to hear what is affecting their lives. We get to say, okay, take your time, tell us what's going on, and then what do you think a good solution is? Because, one person out of 100 doesn't have the solution, but 100 people in that group combined have the answers.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move back to District 1, and let's begin with Ms. Nelson this time. As the first exit into Georgia from I-95, exit 109 is a vital gateway for our local hotels, motels, restaurants, and gas stations. What will you do to help beautify and maintain that part of our city to attract visitors and new businesses?
Efforts for beautification at the exit. I believe there are many options that we have available to us, but it would, as Janet mentioned, like Mr. Hall brought up, we need to have some city involvement. I think sitting down with our citizens and asking what they think a beautiful city looks like is going to be what's important. Going out to the trainings that I've done for planning and zoning, there are criteria that you have to follow when you're bringing something into your city. And I think educating the people and making sure that they're comfortable with the changes that are going to be made is a great way to start. It's not just what you think of, the shrubbery and all of that. It's a whole lot more to it. And I think that citizen engagement is going to play a vital part in that.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rebo, same question.
Yes, part of the beautification project, any beautification project has, like Ms. Nelson said, has a process, and it's just throwing some shrubs in and put them and making it look nice. It has to have input from the community. especially those businesses around the region, around the area that actually would like to have a nice place so that people, when they come in, they're impressed. Actually, that exit or that entry point to Port Wentworth is one of the busiest one in the region. And I do believe that anything that we do to make our city more beautiful is something that's worthwhile investing, not just money, but time and very thought out processes to make sure that it just not for a little while, but it stays and it keeps building on. And so that our businesses, our hotels, can actually feel really proud of having their businesses here in Port Wentworth.
Thank you, sir. Let's move to Ms. Smith, at large post. Your question is, many people in our city think we have traffic problems. The high-speed traffic coming down Highway 21 from Effingham County makes it difficult to turn left out of Rice Hope subdivision. What would you do to help remedy the traffic issue for that area and all of North Port Wentworth?
It's funny you should ask me that question because I live in Rice Hope.
Is this your question? I'm just kidding.
With traffic, everybody is feeling the issue. And I had said earlier that no city is an island, just like no person is an island. We have to talk with cities around us to work on this issue. I think smart lights are important to coordinate the lights. I think definitely a stoplight right outside of Rice Hope is necessary because it's very, very dangerous to turn left onto 21. And a lot of people go up to Publix and turn around that way. It's absolutely not safe. And 21 and 30, the same thing, turning left and going into Effingham. We need to do something about that timing of the lights. I think that's a lot of it. I'd also like to do an impact study on widening Highway 21 into 6 lanes. I think the citizens run Port Wentworth, not the city council. So I think we do an impact study, a citizen involvement study, we do town halls, and we talk about this because rather than the council telling the citizens, I think the citizens should tell the council. So I think there should be a lot of involvement, and I think everyone here agrees on this, the issue of town halls and citizen involvement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to District 1, with your question number 5 for you all. And let's begin with Mr. Rebo. What are your plans to implement new community projects for citizens?
My plans is to seek input from the community. We just can't start developing new projects and just because we feel that that's what we should be doing. We have a master plan that has been put in place. And a lot of those projects are in that master plan. You can actually go online and go to the Coastal Regional Center and take a look at it. So what I intend to do is follow that plan and help City Council, help them make sure that they implement some of these and find a way to get, make sure that we can get those projects on their way. Get the funding that we need and do coalitions. We need to build coalitions with other government entities. I do believe that the city of Port Wentworth should have its own economic development authority. I voiced that out some time back. I think we do need that because we need to take care of Port Wentworth and be like this Hester said, we have to have a seat at the table. And I am the person from District 1 that will be able to do that because I have the experience, the knowledge, and the relationship with a lot of those entities. Thank you very much.
Ms. Nelson?
Okay, plans to input new projects in Port Wentworth. As you've mentioned a few times, Alfonso, the master plan. I was a part of the master plan. Not one council member showed up for our master plan meetings. There were only 2 people from the Planning and Zoning Commission that showed up. So I'm very familiar with our master plan. And it still requires a whole lot of work because what the suggestions that we did receive through the previous chamber, they weren't all heard and they weren't all entered correctly, in my opinion. But what I think needs to happen is we need to begin issuing surveys through our HOAs. So in District 1, almost every community has an HOA. We need to reach out to those HOAs and get them involved so we can get their suggestions on what they think projects need to be in the city or in their particular district. Right now, there's no communication from city to HOA. When you have a problem, your HOA tries to blame it on the city, and the city tries to blame it on the HOA. So I think surveys are necessary, and accessibility to your elected officials are going to be helpful in implementing those plans for new projects.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move to our at-large post. Ms. Smith, what is the holdup on the new sports complex, and what would you do to speed up the process?
It's so interesting because I watched the last forum from 2019, and this was an issue then. This is something that has been long simmering, and the North Side wants it, the North Side needs it. They need a sports complex, they need parks for the children, they need a police presence, a police substation, a fire substation. So there's a lot of things that are needed on the North Side. Since I am challenging an incumbent, I'm not privy to the specifics of what is holding up that contract, but I do know that it is in negotiations. And because I deal with contracts every day of my life, that's something that I can easily walk through and make sure, again, we get a win-win situation, because I think everybody wants to walk out of a room feeling that they've gotten something.
Thank you very much. Let's go to District 3, and let's begin with Ms. Hester this time. Your question is, although we are a large port and warehouse, although we know that large port, what is this? Although we are a large port and warehouses are necessary. My fault, I need my readers. What other businesses do you feel would benefit the community? So the port and the warehouse are the necessary evils. What else would benefit them?
Correct. The ports and the warehouses are necessary evils. I mean, they are the economic driver of the state. That's not lost on me. However, there are places that are appropriate for them. There are places that are not. And speaking to the master plan, the current council and leadership in Port Wentworth has trampled all over that in the last 3 years. So I'd like to just see that master plan is actually respected and followed. Okay, and as far as additional jobs here, I have to go to the doctor. I have to go to Pooler. I'm trying to get everybody, all my doctors in Pooler now, because I hate going to Savannah. We could have doctor's offices here in Port Wentworth. We could have an immediate med. We could have plenty of doctor's offices that can come out here, labs. You could have corporate offices. You could have dress shops and little shopping centers, and that bring things to our area that we currently have to go out of the area to buy. But those businesses could be viable if we have enough people here to support them. And to have people here to support them, we need people growth, not warehouse growth.
Thank you. Minister Wright.
Necessary business that we need in Port Wentworth is medical equipment places. We need places that we can get a tire change. We need restaurants that you could take your friends that come in from out of town to sit down and enjoy a meal. Movie theaters are different places to go, where you can go in and sit down and watch a movie with your friends and relatives. Businesses like boutiques, shoe places, go buy shoes, a dentistry, have your teeth fixed. All kind of medical things that can come and help the citizen instead of going to Pooler, Rankin, or into Savannah. We have none of those amenities. But why don't we have them? Because we have a city council that don't want to fight for us. They want their way and not our way. And we got to remember that We're the citizen. You put them there. You could put them out. So let's vote like you are the ones that are in control, not them. So when November 2nd come around, remember, you are in control. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's begin with our at-large post for this question. What is the plan to get the center median mowed and swept up on a regular basis? We've been told that the DOT maintains it. If DOT maintains the 21 corridor, then why is Effingham County's portion mowed regularly and Port Wentworth's median not?
I'm glad that question came up because one thing I wanted to clarify, Highway 21 is a state highway. However, when people say there's nothing we can do because Highway 21 is a state highway, that's not accurate. We have to have a partnership with the state, and the state's going to listen to us when especially in the part of Highway 21 that comes through our city. As for mowing and quality of life issues, I think that we need more people on staff at City Hall. And I think we can bring the we should have our own Public Works department. So we should be able to do that through our people. Whether it's cleaning the culverts, which is a huge issue downtown, whether it's mowing, whether it's beautification. I think we need a lot more support in City Hall. We've grown so much and yet the staff hasn't grown that much. So that's a big issue. And also I think that if we have an internal department, then we have better control over it. It's not like a subcontractor where we may be the little guy and they have a much bigger client down the road and so they're not going to treat us as well. No, I think we should beef up City Hall a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move to District 1, and let's begin with Ms. Nelson this time. The question, we know traffic congestion is an issue that needs to be addressed. Would you support the city funding a professional traffic study to detail conditions and improvements throughout the city of Port Wentworth?
Yes, I 100% support that. That is almost one of the running themes in my campaign. It's clearly one of the running themes of my tenure on the Port Wentworth Planning and Zoning Commission. A lot of the builders have become extremely familiar with me for that reason. The first question I always ask is about infrastructure and what plans they have to, fix things for us. We're allowing you to come into our city and take from us, but we aren't getting anything. So that is always the first question that I ask. Not often is it answered in a positive manner, but it is always answered and we never get anything. So yes, I 100% support traffic studies, plural, because it's probably not going to take just one. It's going to take many years.
All right, Mr. Rebo?
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier in the same question, yes, traffic studies need to be done, and we have to have partnership with other elected officials in the region because they're part of the Port Wentworth progress. We have one of them here, Mr. Hitchens, and I do believe that he will be really interested in seeing how we can get this solved or provide solutions for that. Those studies have to be done because we have to start thinking about spending money in the city by creating municipal roads. I'm a firm proponent of that because those municipal road system, and I already talked to an architect, an engineer, about the feasibility. Can this be done? And he said, yes, let's talk about it. A lot of the things that we are talking about, I have been working on that. I've been working with some people at the DOT. I have been working to bring in that sportsplex that's in the plan. We've been working with the YMCA to bring entertainment, not only entertainment, but childcare, because we need childcare. I got a kid, I got a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I want to have a place for them to come in. And I tell you, I'm the person that actually get things done, even when I'm not a councilman.
Thank you, sir. We are down to our last question submitted by the community. So I think we should give everybody a chance to, since we have time to answer this question. We can begin with, let's begin with District 3. And this question is, within the past few months, the city issued a boil water advisory. Many residents were left confused and without instructions on why we needed to boil the water. What will you do to address and improve the city's communication with residents when issues like this occur? Mr. Wright?
First of all, we have to warn the citizens. We are very important. We make up the community, we make up the city. I think that it was mishandled very improperly. We were not given adequate warnings, and we got warnings, but it was after the fact. We should have warnings before it happened, not after the fact, because we're important. It makes me think that we're unimportant when they tell us after the fact. You know about it, but you didn't tell us about it till afterwards. We need to know up front. You know day one. Don't tell us 2 days later about what happened. We need to know now. So to change that, we need to get more warnings and know ahead of time, because you know ahead of time. The boil water effect, I don't drink the water anyway, I drink bottled water. So I didn't have to worry about it. But everybody don't drink bottled water. We need to change it, make it better for the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hester?
There's a lot to unpack with that question.
Open your suitcase.
First of all, it's a failure on the part of the contractor who is responsible for taking care of that water tower and that water system. There's a discrepancy in the contract that some don't think, one side doesn't know that they're responsible for doing a certain thing. And then there's an issue of hiding that. And then there's an issue of what is the method in which council and our leadership, our city manager, has to get that word out. I don't watch local TV, so if it's on local TV, I wouldn't get that message, okay? But local TV is only one thing, local radio is another. Then you've got social media. There are lots of ways of getting that message out, but it seemingly never gets out. Now, where's that failure? As Joe said earlier, we're not privy to that information. We don't know, we're not on council, so we can't get to that information. The only thing we can do is assure you, the people, that once we are on with your support and your vote, once we are on council, we can get answers for that, and then we can fix whatever the problem is, whether it's the contract or whether it's a lazy contractor, who knows, but we don't.
Just to remember, the question is not how, the question is how you're going to make it better for the residents when you become. No. Just to make sure. Within the past few months, the city issued a boil water advisory. Many residents were left confused and without instructions on why they needed to boil the water. What will you do to address and improve the city's communication with residents when issues like this occur?
I was a public relations executive for the first 15, 20 years of my career, so getting the word out is second nature to me. I did it for 2 different Fortune 500 companies. That, Janet hit on a bunch of them. So the specific avenues, we all know them, but I think this talks to a bigger problem, and the bigger problem is some of our infrastructure. And some of the contracts we have, like the contract we have with Clearwater, and the water comes from the city of Savannah, from the Ogeechee Aquifer. And so I don't, like what Janet said, I don't know exactly who was to blame. But we have to look at some of these contracts that are not in the favor of Port Wentworth and renegotiate them. And there's a lot of money that might have to be spent on our water infrastructure. Put me in there. I'm an excellent at getting pandemic relief money And if we got $30 million in the bank, put me in there, give me a chance to double it. And we can fix the sewer, the water, the culverts, a lot of different things. But actually getting the word out, I did that for years, social media, constant contact, phone, trees. Absolutely, I believe in communication with the public. That's what I did for so many years.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to District 1. And let's go to Mr. Rebo. We'll end with Ms. Nelson. Same question.
Yes, it's, I've been different cities throughout the U.S., different countries, and they all have several ways to communicate. If I become elected official, which I'm hoping for your vote on November 2nd, one of the things that I will implement is a district office. The district office will take care of all those issues that we're talking about. We'll vent them at the district level. Why? Because that way you get direct input from the community closer to home rather than having them go to City Hall to start a riot whenever an issue comes up. I do believe that we can do that. I believe that we need to, they say we need to get the family to work on those issues. And if there's issues on District 3, District 3 will have an office. District 4 will have an office. And so will District 1. And I do believe that way we can get direct input from the community so that we can start solving a lot of these issues. Thank you very much.
Ms. Nelson?
Excuse me. During the water boil advisory, I do agree with most of our citizens that our city grossly misinformed us of what was going on. I had many people, even before it was, huge news in the district that I was running, congratulate me or thank me for putting those emails out and putting those notifications out on social media. I don't think that Fort Wentworth utilizes their social media platforms as much as they could. A lot of our citizens right now, the age median is between 30 and 46, if I'm not mistaken. Those people are using social media. So you gotta get to people any way you can. And social media is probably gonna be one of our biggest resources. Outside of that, I would say robocalls. I would also say that we need to do text blasts. I would also say that we need to create a Port Wentworth app. The children are tech savvy. I am in the tech industry, and my kid, who I think is trying to avoid being on camera, has been on her phone much of the evening, but these kids need to know what's going on as well. You'd be surprised what input they actually have and how it can be utilized in the city.
Thank you very much. I think we are finished with all of the questions that came in and were vetted by the Chamber of Commerce. Before we do our closing statements, let's give them a round of applause. What a great group. Thank you all again for your time. I know this is the end of a busy day for most of you. Thank you for making the time and realizing how important it is for you to meet with the voters. And of course, I hope all of you take this information back to your communities and let them know what was said here today. We want to make sure everybody makes an informed decision. So at this time, we'll have our closing statements. The candidates will make those. They will get 2 minutes? 3 minutes? No,
3 minutes.
Okay, I'm not used to people using their thumb.
I can't raise the other finger.
3 minutes. 3 minutes for our closing statements. We ask that the candidates not make any charges or attacks against another candidate that has not previously been raised. And you all have been so wonderful with great integrity, and you are so polite. Thank you so much. Let's end this night on a wonderful round where we do the same. So we started our opening statements with District 1. So let's begin our closing statements with Alderman at Large candidate Joe Smith, and reminder that she is running against Linda Smith, who is not here this evening.
You've heard me mention impact studies a few times tonight. The reason is it's time for citizen input to be the primary focus when making large decisions in Port Wentworth. This will, of course, include town hall meetings that I've mentioned and other candidates have mentioned on important topics that are currently in front of City Council. Some of my priorities: changing the way policing is done in our city. I want to focus more on protect and serve, not cite and arrest. I will look at all problems through the lens of the people of this city. You will see me regularly at town hall meetings. I will add necessary staffing positions so that you will get your calls and emails returned promptly, and your concerns will no longer be ignored. Because I have heard you every door I've been to that there's no response from City Hall. Well, we're going to fix that. I also want to focus on smart growth. We currently have what one journalist calls willy-nilly growth. And he's correct. We have to work to better balance things and do more thoughtful choices. We need to focus on the quality of life for both a great place to work and a great place to live. I'm running at large, which means the entire city can vote for me, and I would represent the entire city. And I absolutely want to make sure that there is no longer this tension between the city and the north side. We should revitalize downtown, and we should bring to the north side very needed amenities, and we can make Port Wentworth grow tremendously. I have the skills to bring in outside money, outside grant, outside pandemic funds, and really revitalize this city, both north and south. So I'm asking you to vote for Joe Smith, Joe Smith, because there's two Smiths on the ballot. This week at Mosquito Control, 9 to 5, or next Tuesday at your precinct. And if you go to my website, Joe4PW, and it's the number 4, Joe4PW.com. Starting tomorrow, we'll have a link to the area on the Secretary of State's website where you can find your voting location and you can track your ballot, which is something fairly new and I think is really nice. So you can be able to go to my website to track your ballot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to District 3. And since Minister Bright, we can have the first opening statement. We're going to begin with you, Ms. Hester.
Oh, okay.
So we have this, in this race, just a reminder, it's Ms. Janet Hester, Minister Rufus Bright, and Mr. Linwood Griner, who is not here this evening. Let's begin with Ms. Hester. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention tonight. This has been long, probably at times boring. However, thank you for being here, and thank you for your attention. I've been out here for 33 years. I have seen all the changes. I've seen the good and the bad and the ugly. And I'm here standing before you tonight asking for your vote, because I feel like Port Wentworth can be so much better by protecting what is here. We do bring a lot to the table, and some don't recognize that we do already bring something to the table, and that entitles us to a seat at that table. And I'm going to thank you for having always been there in Port Wentworth and all that you all do. Some of you are current leaders, past leaders, but just residents who care about where you live enough to be here tonight. Go share with your neighbors what you've heard here tonight and ask them to go out and vote their heart.
Thank you, ma'am. Minister Bright.
Right, I'm running for 3rd District. I've been involved with Port Wentworth politics since I moved here. I've only lived here 7 years. Right, I'm running for 3rd District. I've been involved with Port Wentworth politics since I moved here. I've only lived here 7 years. Planning and zoning, which I'm second chairperson. I've been involved with the prison ministry at Chatham County for 9 years. I've been at Tara Nursing Home for 9 years before the COVID. I care about people. I care about Port Wentworth. This is my home. This is where I live. This is where I'm gonna spend my last days. I care about what's going on in City Hall. That's why I care about what's going on there. We have leaders that don't want to be leaders. They pretend to be leaders. They say they're gonna do one thing, they don't do the right thing. I'm not planning on doing the wrong thing. I stand by what I say. And when I say it, I'm gonna do what I said I'd do. I can't promise you anything, but I can promise you this. I'll bring the fight, and I'm gonna fight for you, because what you see, I see. What you hear, I hear. And when you don't like it, I don't like it. So come November the 2nd, vote for Rufus Bright for City Hall, and I will fight for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's move on to District 1. Let's begin with Ms. Gabrielle Nelson. She's running against Mr. Alfonso Rivolt. Ms. Nelson, begin, please.
I want to start my closing just by mentioning my mission statement, and that is to bring compassionate and sensible decision-making to Fort Wentworth, Georgia. We have all of that. It's going to allow us to thrive both economically and enhance our city overall enjoyment and otherwise. And I think that is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind is overall community enjoyment and safety. Right now, that's something that we're lacking, and not the safety, but the enjoyment. It's nothing for everyone to enjoy, and we need to get on the same page and unify. My core values consist of C for compassion, because I'm one of the most compassionate people that you will ever meet. O for ownership, because I own each and every mistake I've made, and I'm woman enough at 34 to figure out the solutions to fix them and always try not to make those mistakes again. R, doing what's right at all times. I have little people that are literally looking up to me. I only have one of them with me tonight, but between the both of them, every time they see my commercial on TV or we ride past my billboard, they're, Mommy, Mommy, it's Mama. So I have people to make proud. And E for elevation, because every day I'm striving to do what's best to get me to the next platform. And I think if everyone in Fort Wentworth got on the same page and we all enlisted the same core values within us, this city, we could propel this city into literally the next century. Fort Wentworth needs Nelson. We need a heart at City Hall.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rebo?
As I started, thank you very much. Thank you for the to the Chamber of Commerce, and thank you to all the people here that took their time to listen to what we have to say, and go out there and talk about it, because that's important. A lot of people may not know who I am, but now they will. And I'm an asset to this community. And I do believe that we have a core values of integrity and doing the right thing. I'm going to leave you with something that has been actually making me really, really conscious of why I'm here. In the Bible, Jeremiah 29:7 says the following thing. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city which I have called you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you will too prosper. And that's my calling. I want the city to prosper. I want this city to become the greatest place to live, work, and play. Why? Because we can do it. We have to have a seat at the table. We have to have people who bring in things to the table with solutions, not just wants, but solutions, and have the capacity, not just the well wishes, not the, oh, I think we could do this, the actual knowledge, training, and also the capacity to get things done. The relationship with other people here, not only here in Fort Wentworth, but all of our neighbors, because we're not an island by ourselves. I do believe that we can do more together than each of us individually. And no, Fort Wentworth does not need Nelson. Fort Wentworth does not need each one of us individual. It needs all of us working together to a common purpose for the city of Fort Wentworth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's give all of our candidates another round of applause. Thank all of you again for coming this evening. We We know that the work is not done. If you have not already done your early voting, which you can continue to do until Friday, you have to go to the polls on the 2nd and make sure that your vote counts. We can mumble all we want to on social media and with our friends and with our church members, but if we don't make that step and vote, none of this matters. And I like to tell my friends, if you didn't vote, I don't want to hear any of your complaints because you didn't try to make it any better. So it's really important to me that people like you always come out, no matter how late it is, how tired you are, to make sure that you are well informed, because we can't just continue to vote for our friends. We have to vote for people who we know have the best interest, our interest at heart. So please continue to do that. I want to thank our wonderful timekeepers, the cooks over here. Thank all of you for your wonderful, insightful questions, and thanks again to all the candidates. And we appreciate you, and good luck to all of you. And one thing I want to remind you, if you all are elected or just a part of any kind of nonprofit, I realize that there are other ways to get your news, but don't forget about mainstream media, because people do look to us. We have tickers that we can put there at the bottom, boil water advisory until whatever day. But just make sure that we know. And one of the problems that I always have is people call when the event is going on. So please give us some notice if you can. We'll do our best to be there. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to share with you.
I want to thank Dawn for, once again, moderating our forum tonight. So
Thank you, ma'am.
just on behalf of the
I
Chamber of
appreciate
Commerce,
that.
and we
Thank
thank
you.
you all for coming out tonight, and we thank our candidates. Thank you so much.